Riddle is Malleus's interviewer for his second birthday. When asked who he would take with him to a deserted island, he answers that he would take Riddle himself. Riddle realizes he is being teased and asks, "It wouldn't actually matter who came with you, would it?" And Malleus responds, "Should an occasion arise where we wind up adrift together, by all means rely upon me." Malleus says that he would be house warden of any dorm he joined and tailor the environment to his liking, and that includes Hartslobule, of course. Riddle says he would welcome the challenge of Malleus attempting to take the Hartslobule house warden position from him, as beheading Malleus would earn him great prestige. Malleus says it is bold of Riddle to assume he would win, but it would hardly be entertaining otherwise. When asked what dorm he would transfer to, Riddle answers Diasomnia due to the high concentration of talented mages, and says he would challenge Malleus for the seat of house warden.
本気のマレウス先輩相手でも負けないように、この先も研鑽に励むとするよ。
Malleus is Riddle's judge for the Culinary Crucible. He compares Riddle's misshapen cabbage rolls to a parent and their tottering child, an assessment that Riddle says is as biting as it is accurate. Malleus says that while the dish is edible, as a meal prepared by the student with the highest marks in the second year, he had been prepared to be blown away by a masterful display of technique. But the flavor and plating are both entirely pedestrian. Perhaps I expected too much. Riddle thanks him for his honest feedback. Malleus gifts Riddle with tea leaves for his birthday that are popular with the Fae. Riddle says it tastes like medicinal herbs, and he imagines it must be very healthy. Riddle's birthday gift to Malleus is an ice cream dish with matching spoon, ordered from the same vendor from which Hartslobule gets its tea party tableware. Malleus is impressed by the dish, saying that Riddle has excellent taste. Malleus says he will look into acquiring more, as fine tableware should serve to elevate his spirits somewhat, and Riddle offers to provide him with a catalogue. When Malleus fails to appear to represent his club during Book 5, Riddle observes that Malleus is an extremely capable mage, but he's never been the most punctual fellow. On the topic of Malleus's consistent failure to attend house warden meetings, Vil asks Riddle and Leona how they could condone Malleus's conduct as the two longest-serving house wardens. Leona says Vil has no idea how much he suffered last year, and Riddle corrects him with, "I was the one doing the actual suffering." Riddle explains all the different methods they attempted to remind Malleus of the meetings, and the ridiculous amount of work that he put in exhausting every available avenue. Riddle says that, at this point, the burden falls upon Malleus, with Azul observing that Riddle and Leona have given up on Malleus as a lost cause. Riddle is openly unafraid of Malleus, stating so himself during Spectral Soiree when Rook asks if he is frightened. We see this come into play during Phantom Bride when Malleus escapes Silver to visit Riddle alone in the Hartslobule Rose Garden, and Riddle's immediate response is to tease him about sending a frost upon their roses, from a classic Thorn Fairy anecdote. Riddle teases that the poor roses are cowering in fear. Malleus responds, "You can relax. That's not why I'm here." When Riddle volunteers to be bait for the Fire Lotuses during Glorious Masquerade and buy time for the other students to escape, Malleus observes, "You never struck me as someone who would automatically step up to sacrifice themselves." Malleus compliments Riddle on his ability to keep his students in line during Halloween, and Riddle says that it is not as though he is constantly cracking a whip, saying that his students simply remain unified and carry out their duties at all times, like the card soldiers of yore. Riddle impresses Malleus again during Phantom Bride. Suffering from a constant barrage of ghost guards, Riddle begins to struggle, and is reminded of a vow he swore to Malleus in the Rose Garden to hold his ground. We see a flashback to Malleus visiting Riddle in order to thank him for going to Lilia and Sebek's aid. Riddle says that he is not rescuing them for Malleus's benefit, but because the Hartslobule House Warden is expected to show initiative during campus emergencies. Riddle explains, those with power and status have a duty to aid the weak, proportional to their station. Malleus asks if Riddle judges him for not doing the same, saying, "I suppose from your perspective, my conduct is unbefitting a leader," and Riddle reveals that he understands Malleus's position completely. He is constrained by circumstance, which limits his options regardless of his feelings on the matter. Malleus says it troubles him that Lilia and Sebek were imprisoned because of him, and there is nothing he can do to free them, and Riddle takes offense, assuming that Malleus has come to him to offer guidance. Riddle responds, "You must think me rather incompetent, but Malleus reveals that he is not worried, having witnessed firsthand how Riddle cares for his vassals and his determination as a leader, saying, "I assume you've received no royal tutelage, yet you have the bearing of a king all the same." Malleus affixes a rose to Riddle's jacket, saying, "When adorned upon you, this simple rose carries more weight than any metal." Riddle swears upon the rose that he will fulfill his duty. Back in the present, Riddle remembers that Malleus had wanted to be there to fight with them but couldn't, redoubling his efforts as he has been entrusted with Lilia and Sebek's safety in Malleus's stead. Back at Diosomnia, Silver is surprised at how much faith Malleus has in Riddle's ability to save the group, and Malleus responds, "Faith? I am merely acknowledging the truth. After all, he is the king of Heartslobule."